there were so many people that reached out to us with very hostile messages that I deleted them. There were private messages that were sent to us on YouTube. They were saying that we were being very biased of the Battleground pay-per-view, and basically showing favoritism towards it as, well, according to this poll, everybody said that the pay-per-view was garbage. So what are you guys talking about? And to hear how the fans at the arena in Buffalo, they felt so disgruntled by the finish that they left quietly. They didn't even buy any more merchandise or tickets to another live event. They just walked out of there disgruntled. You know, let's really approach this here, okay? Do you think that the fans sat up and looked at this Battleground pay-per-view and was expecting too much? Because I knew not to expect too much, not to expect too many monumental things to happen in this Battleground pay-per-view, considering the fact that in less than 3 weeks we're going to have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and that's probably going to be the pay-per-view where they're going to do a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of pop. There's going to be a lot of sizzle, and as we saw on Raw, they really tied up all the loose ends. It made you kick back and say, well, now I understand why Battleground was the way that it was, because, gee willikers, they were setting up Hell in a Cell. So, Joe, my question to you, do you think in retrospect, now that Raw is in the books, do you think the fans were a bit too critical of this WWE Battleground pay-per-view?
I definitely do. Come on, guys. I mean, I guess I should apologize, in a sarcastic way here for having an opinion that Battleground exceeded my non-expectations, and I didn't go with the majority of the crowd here. So I'll send a sarcastic apology for that. Yeah, I guess the internet fan or the diehard fan, they felt that the WWE had to deliver a big monumental pay-per-view here, and I don't understand why people felt that way. This was obviously a setup for the next big pay-per-view, which is Hell in a Cell, and we knew that. This is what we've been discussing all week. So for us having our opinion that we felt it was a decent pay-per-view that exceeded our expectations, we have every right to feel that way because we had no expectations. So, they set it up pretty well. And, going into Monday night, which we will discuss shortly, they definitely tied up all the loose ends. So I stand by what I said on Sunday night. They exceeded my non-expectations.
I echo those same words. And folks, for those of you that did not check out our post show, little fun fact, WWE, via Twitter, their official Twitter page, they actually selected us over here at the RCWR Show, along with 4 other people, as winners to see the Battleground pay-per-view for free. From what I'm kind of gathering, it just basically looked as if maybe they tallied up how many tweets people were putting out about the Battleground pay-per-view. I'm only speculating here. I'm not really sure because, honestly, and Joe can verify this, I was just putting out tweets letting folks know, hey, we're doing a Battleground post-show. Be sure to check it out. Hey, we got Battle Call predictions. Check it out. Check out this article from Dan, and shout out to our new opinion columnist writer, Dan. He had a great article up looking at key matches for Battleground and talking about the finishes for it. And that's all we did, and WWE, they just was like, hey, you guys won. You get to see Battleground for free. So it was like, oh, okay. Now, bear in mind, as much as I love checking out stuff for free, that's not going to sway the way I feel about something. If I feel that something is shit, I'm going to speak on it. Good example, I came across the new Pearl Jam album, Lightning Bolt. For those of you Pearl Jam fans, you're a little bit curious how this new album is doing, as it's not supposed to drop everywhere until next week. The review's on our YouTube page, and I give a brutally honest review about that album. So I think you kind of see where I'm going with that. I'm not going to sugarcoat. You can send me my favorite cake. You can give me snacks or whatever. It's not going to make me say, well, I know that this pay-per-view is shit, but it was a good pay-per-view. Good job, WWE. No, I'm going to let you have it. And honestly, to echo what you said, Joe, that pay-per-view exceeded my expectations as well. I went into that pay-per-view saying to myself, less than 3 weeks, they got Hell in a Cell. This is a filler. This is basically like Saturday night main event. Don't expect too much to go down, And, yeah, once you see what had went down on Raw, it was definitely one of those, well, I guess that makes sense. And, honestly, when I think about the finish at that pay-per-view, dude, it's been a good minute since we've seen a pay-per-view end where, hey, we still don't know who's the freaking champion. I like finishes like that. I wish, we would see finishes like that more often, but not in a way where it makes you sit up and go, okay, this is ridiculous. I deserve better than this as a consumer. I think if you have the right players, the right storyline, it's cool to see scenarios like that play out. To sit up and look at the fact that John Cena, who's been out of the picture for a while, 2 months go past plus there's no champion. I think it's hilarious. I think it's freaking awesome. I think that it's must-see TV because it's like, wow, there's no official WWE champion. What exactly is going on here with the company? So, for me, my hat's off to the WWE, because in retrospect, I stand behind the rating that I gave that pay-per-view. I think at the end we both said like 6.5 or, somewhere between 6 to 7 out of 10 for the pay-per-view. And we both agreed that, matches that really stood out, the Rhodes family taking on the Shield, RVD taking on Alberto Del Rio. That was a really good technical match. My hat's off to both of those guys. They really delivered. And a surprising sneaker of a match, if you will, was the R-Truth versus Curtis Axel, even though there wasn't that much storyline that was into it. And I think to kind of echo on what Jim Ross was saying on his Twitter page earlier, in retrospect to Battleground, decent matches, but very cold due to the fact that there wasn't any storyline around these matches that we saw. And I think that's probably one of the things that really didn't connect well with the wrestling fans going into Raw. We got to show some love to our good buddy on YouTube, COO, who had shared the latest Raw ratings. Very, very bad, too. It looks like it scored a 2.65 cable rating, averaging 3,706,000 viewers. Raw is not only opposed by Monday Night Football, but the MLB playoffs, which drew nearly 4 million viewers. Football drew an okay audience of 11 million viewers. And it looks like, according to TV by the Numbers, as well as other wrestling affiliates, they're noting that this episode of Raw is the lowest rated episode of the year. Now, Joe, my question to you, do you think that maybe the same amount of fans that ended up checking Battleground, they ended up not really tuning in to WWE Raw in protest or maybe in retaliation to what they felt was a poor product that they received on Sunday night?
That's one way of looking at it, but I'm going to say no. We got to remember, like you just pointed out, the MLB playoffs are on. You have big teams, you have big markets in those games. And not to mention the Monday Night Football game. Yes, it wasn't a big ratings cow for ESPN that night, but it had the New York market in there. So I want to see what the ratings were in New York, because WWE is huge in New York. So maybe they lost a lot of viewers in the New York and Atlanta markets just because of Monday Night Football. So I wouldn't put too much stock in the ratings for Monday night.